Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to get into some more pathway techniques, and we are going to specifically focus on biome themed pathways. Now this one is specific for forests, and the reason why I say that is because of the bushes and the rocks that are kind of added to create this more bushiness, more leafiness when you're going through a forest. So it seems more dense, and I think it looks really good for like quote unquote non-developed or lower developed pathways that you send through a forest. And of course you can remove the rocks and you can remove the bushes so that you can also use this for plains biomes. I will create a different variation for the plains, but you can use this for the plains. And in just a moment here, we will skip ahead to another design I made for a different biome. Welcome back, everybody. I decided that since we had mentioned plains biome, as far as pathways go, that I would do that one next. So this one still has the same lamppost designs, still has the same pathway designs, but as you can see, there's no rocks, and the bushes are more spread out. Now you can add extra details to these bushes if you so wish. You can add wagons to the side of the pathway that are kind of broken down, maybe have some hay in them. And actually, let me just go ahead and execute one of those ideas. So if we just do that and we just add to the bushes, just add a little bit of woodiness to it, it'll make it look a little better. And yeah, okay, there we go. So that adds an extra bit of detail to the bushes. And obviously you can add more. Maybe you have piles of barrels and chests and stuff on the side of the road to kind of indicate that this is a well-traveled path, that traders go on this route. Then you can add those things. But for a simplified plains biome path, I think this is perfect. It doesn't have the trees because, of course, we're in a plains biome. There's not going to be trees right next to the path unless, of course, you are skirting between plains biome and a forest biome. In that case, it's okay to have it on the side. You can have those trees on the side of where you where those two biomes intersect. But yeah, so I will make another variation of this in just a second. I'll actually be replacing all these dirt blocks with some more stone themed blocks to give you an idea of the difference that it can make. All right, be right back. All right, welcome back. So I replaced the pathing with some stone. It is a mixture of cobblestone and mossy cobble and andesite and gravel. So the pathway block in this instance because becomes less dominant, and the idea is that this road is more developed. It's a trade route maybe. It's probably one of your main paths, and that's why it has way more stony features than it does the pathway features or dirt features. And it is also emphasized by sections of barrels and chests and wood kind of left on the side of the road, kind of abandoned in a sense, to add detail. Maybe they're stashes. Maybe they are stashes. And then, of course, the wagon I was mentioning, this is just a simple version. You can make different wagons, especially ones more catered towards the broken down feeling. So maybe like you find a design that you like that is more broken down. Maybe it looks like it's slanted to the ground, that sort of stuff. I made this look like it was kind of broken down by emphasizing that some of this hay just kind of chaotically fell out of the back of the wagon. And then it was just kind of left here. And then you can also have hay blocks as the mixture instead of the storage blocks. And of course, adding the wood accents to add variety. And what you can notice about like my placement of these is that it's very similar to how I've been placing these. So it doesn't really change as far as general patterns go. It kind of stays the same, but because it's a completely different block, it looks different. It does look different. It looks different than what this is, but it still has that variation that you want, that randomized variation that makes this pathway look good. Now, there are other ideas that I've been wanting to execute with this pathway video. For instance, you could put a raised little terrace all the way along your pathway as kind of like a more developed thing, of course. But you would have kind of a stony outline, and then maybe you have grass blocks in the center, and then maybe you have bushes and trees and stuff to kind of emphasize the fact that this is like an intentional thing along your pathway. So that is another idea that you could use for your pathway, especially for a plains biome pathway that doesn't have as much going on for it. All right, now we'll be moving on to another biome. Hello, everybody. We are back with another pathway. We have a birch pathway this time, and I decided to add some stripped wood to the texturing and also some sandstone. It kind of matches the same kind of coloring as the birch around it, and so I feel like it really fits in quite a bit better. Now, the reason why I changed the lamppost is because a darker lamppost would not do well in a lighter sort of range of tones, range of colors. And so this time I decided to use the jungle wood block and also the mud bricks, because those two kind of match together well, and also changing the lanterns into something that is waxed. Specifically, this one right here goes really well with this jungle wood tone and also the mud brick tone. So I figured that would be a good addition. We also have these fences on the side to kind of frame in the pathway, adding some extra detail. And of course we have the bushes, and this time I added some moss carpet, as well as changed out the leaves for the birch leaves instead. So it kind of fits with the forest theme specific to the birch forest. Overall, I think this is pretty good. I did have it so that there weren't any path blocks, but it didn't look quite right. So honestly, I think having some sort of path block intermixed with your pathway, especially if there is dirt around it, will probably make it look quite a bit better. All right, so we'll go ahead and come back when we're at the next biome. All right, welcome back. So we have the next biome here, and this specific biome is the swamp biome, of course, as you can see. Now, I really had a lot of fun making this one, actually, because there are a couple of things that are inherent to swamp biomes that really add a mystical effect. One of those is the firefly bush, so that's why you see all the particles flying around. And actually, let me just do this real quick. And there's also the dead bush. Now, I was actually surprised to find the dead bush in the swamp biome, and I think it's part of a newer update to add variety to the bushes and stuff, which I think is great because I started sticking them around all over the place. I basically just enhanced what was already there as far as fairy bushes, as far as or sorry, not fairy bushes, firefly bushes, as far as other like bush types, dead bushes, that sort of stuff. And then I added what we have already learned, or what I've already taught you guys, and also like the things that I've added in the previous pathways, and it just came together. It really came together. Now, the thing that I really like, especially here, is that you can have these puddles all around your pathway. And so you can add tropical fish to them, you can add salmon to them, and you can add all sorts of other things, like seagrass and some more lily pads. And I especially love that all the oak trees have the vines hanging down, because it really adds to the framing of the pathway. And because there's so much green, it's like such a vibrant green over here, I decided to kind of emphasize that by adding moss carpet, and then also these guys, which I believe are azaleas. Yep. There's azaleas with flowers and azaleas without flowers. And then I just used bone meal and added to that. And I really love this new lamppost design that I ended up creating. We have some copper bars here that are fully oxidized, and we have the rod upside down, of course. You just like go ahead and place it underneath to make it upside down like this, so it looks like it's being stood up right on that section right there. And of course I varied the heights to it, so that it wasn't like fully consistent, and it makes it look better. And then as far as the bridge goes, of course you can have other bridges for your pathway. I just decided that having something makeshift in wood like this would look a little bit better, kind of broken down, super like, and then of course like adding like more green here to the path, but not so much that it takes over the path completely, you know? It's getting a bunch of moss over it. It's quite developed, but only because of the harsh environment that it is in. All right, guys, we will head on to the next pathway. All right, well, here is our last example for the video. This is for the dark oak forest. And I just kind of adopted some of the techniques from two of the different things, both the swamp and also the birch forest paths. I just took influence from those, kind of did a mixture. We have some wood spread out through this, but we also have moss blocks, and we also have mossy cobblestone. And because we have the mossy cobblestone, I did kind of want to like make it a little bit more foundational, a little bit more significant in the pathway. So I did add a few of these walls and connected them to the framing fences to the side of the pathway. This one is just regular cobblestone. I probably should fix that at some point, but probably don't want it like connecting to this grass block. Probably just want it to look more like this, where it is kind of like a pillar. And then I added a bunch of mushrooms around, because of course there are giant mushrooms that end up spawning in this forest. And of course, adding extra custom ones doesn't hurt. And yeah, so I think overall this is a pretty good design. If you want to use it, feel free, go ahead. And I appreciate you coming in and looking at all these different designs and hanging out. All right. I'll see you in the next video.